Hey there, guys. I'm Toby Rudolph, and you're about to listen to the ET Stand podcast. Shaka, brah.
For over 50 years, people have come to see the Sharks play. Talent, skill, speed, intelligence, elite-level athleticism. That's not these guys. Biased, one-eyed, opinionated, more often wrong than right. They make up for their complete lack of talent with pure dribble, gibberish, and enthusiasm. This is the ET Stand podcast. It's the podcast that is hopefully more entertaining than that team and that attack. This club, man. This team. Why? Again. It's like they're not even interested, but a man who is interested, Franko, is joining me live. Mate, what did you make of that experience? You were in the ET Stand.
I just hope that looked better on TV because they're live. That was a terrible game to watch. It was slow. It was full of errors. You could see just how gassed everyone seemed to be, and it wasn't. The frustrating thing for me was it wasn't as though it was strategic, okay, hands on hips, conserving energy kind of play. They literally looked either gassed or disinterested, which is not how we want to see our team play, especially given the talk around how up for this season we are. It really didn't look like this. There's half of me wants to think that, you know, the old adage of we played our grand final last week, like we put all of our energy into trying to beat Panthers, and then that just burned us out and we didn't have enough for next week's game. But we really didn't look good. And I don't think it was until Rudolph came on.
Rudolph was the key one, wasn't he?
It wasn't until that we actually looked as though we had a purpose, right? It was just nothing. And then the 1-2 punch, Talakai came on not long after that and brought us to life a little bit off the back of that. But up until that point, it was a team that did not look like they were ready for that contest, which was really sad to see because we all thought we were going to have a bit of a bounce back from Panthers.
Get it in the comments, guys. So, did they try? Or do we have an effort trying problem? If you'd like to join the show, please click on this link. It is in the comments. We've got a couple of people joining us, a couple of regulars coming in hot. So this is going to be good fun as you host a podcast, Franko, and you just want the Sharks to win, and then they don't, and it just hurts. So, reminder, the debrief is brought to you by Solve Accounting. Lucky them. For all your accounting needs, business, bookkeeping, tax, self-managed super fund, and anything else financial, the legends at Solve can help you. But you know who they can't help? Sharks. Because nothing is going to help the Sharks. All right, let's get into we'll get you Jimmy in. So Jimmy's waiting in the green room all the way from Amsterdam. Jimmy, you watched it on TV. I must confess, I have come home from the match and watched it in fast forward on 2x speed and been through that twice. What is your reaction to that match, having watched it? Yes, Stephen?
Before we get that, Jimmy, you watched it on 2x speed.
No, I watched it on 2x speed.
You watched it on 2x speed. Does that mean we actually had some kind of pace on the field at 2x speed, or were we still slow?
Well, it's funny because I watched it at 2x speed, and then I switched over to watch the end of the Rabbitohs match, and I was watching that and thinking, boy, they look really slow. I'm like, look how fast our guys are in comparison. And then I just realized just now that, yeah, the 2x speed at least made them look a little bit good. Jimmy, mate, welcome to the season. Hello, buddy.
Hello. It's times like this, I'm really glad I don't live in Australia and didn't have to make the effort to go and watch that trash. At least I could just watch it on TV and try and forget about it for the rest of the day. They looked completely gassed after 20 minutes. Like it was, I actually don't know why Fitz didn't bring Rudolph or Talakai on earlier. They in the middle, they were just spent. It was like, I swear to God, they played a game for Newtown or something, because it looked like the whole team had already played a game before this game. Well, forwards anyway. Like, it was unbelievable.
That pass from Brayley to AFB looked tired from Brayley, and it looked tired from AFB. And look, there are a few turning points where they certainly got ahead of us, but you could just see it there. And then, goodness me, Will Kennedy looked like he was running it up harder. And I know you said that AFB had the most meters. Maybe someone in the comments can go run the calculations for us. But what, 88 meters or something? How many hit ups? It's just no efficacy there for old mate AFB. He had his worst game for us, I thought, Jimmy.
Yeah, I think one of the other issues, in my view, is that if AFB doesn't stand up and make 200 meters a game, then we're screwed. Like, we can't always rely on AFB to be I know we pay him a lot of money, and of course he should be probably making, those 150 meter, 200 meters a game. But if he isn't, someone else needs to. And like, Toby came on and he was the only one with any kind of energy. It was fantastic. But apart from that, like, our forwards just look like powder puffs. Like, they're making no impact. They're getting
against the forward pack that's not even that heralded. It's not like
and if it wasn't for Stone Street and Kennedy were just like, they put such a big shift in. Like, you got to give them a lot of credit. But like, if it wasn't for them, I don't know what we would have done. Like, it was unbelievable.
Well, Stone Street made the first try, didn't he? Whilst it was an okay pass from Nico, it was quite a good effort play from Stone Street to Jink and get around them. That was, a quality moment that got us on the scoreboard. But Nico's also gone missing, hasn't he, fellas? Franko, start with you.
Oh, I
love him.
Yeah, look, I can't say he's gone missing when the whole team's basically gone missing, right? Like, we were full of praise week one about the shapes and the formations, the plays, everything we did looked like we were doing with a breath of fresh air, and we were doing things with purpose and with speed. And last week and this week, it's like we've just fallen back into old habits and it's all gone out the window. So last week I was upset that Nico really didn't run the ball. Even if there's someone in front of him, even if there's not a half gap, just run the ball. It gives it meaning for the next time you've got the ball in hand, the second or indecision in the defender's mind, right? So should just take the ball, hit it up, see what happens. And he did that this game, right? I think it was maybe his second touch. He went for a dart and poked his nose through and got tackled. And then in the end, made over 100 running meters. So in that sense, I'm happy. He certainly I haven't looked at the stats properly yet, but I assume he kicked a lot more than he did the last couple of weeks because
a couple more times.
Looked at the ground. So he was certainly more involved. I just think as I said, the whole team, like all of our formations, all of our structure, the various plays that we showed in week one, it just wasn't there. And not to say they were blow-ups, but he certainly had a few terse words with, guys outside him about not being where they should be when he needed them there. So whether it was just, again, a byproduct of us being gassed and not able to get to our positions in time, or, as I said, muscle memory falling back into old habits and not being there for the right play. I don't want to say Nico wasn't there. And look, I'm not a Nico apologist. I think I've been pretty harsh on Nico in the past.
I'm a Nico apologist, Franko.
Yeah, I know, but
I'm a big fan and advocate of his, and I was pretty disappointed.
I don't think he was that bad tonight. I just think he was let down by the whole team.
Jimmy on the TV, Nico on the blind side. Do you remember those moments where he went once and then it came back and then he went the second time? I thought there were a couple of bad decisions from him tonight. What did you make of some of those? Especially, do you remember that specific moment where he went blindside and got caught, and then there was another one?
Yeah, look, at least he was trying something, right? I think, but him and Trindle look a bit disjointed, but I think it's a bit hard for Trindle and Hines to really light things up when your forwards are almost going backwards. Like Brayley could barely run because he had no platform, and I wouldn't be looking at Hines and Trindle too much. I think it's very hard for them to do what they need to do when your forwards are just the most runs any of your forward make is 84 meters.
Well, it's especially hard when you're an iconic forward yourself, and your team is expected to be known for having gun forwards, and then they do that. It must be pretty disheartening for Fitzgibbon, Jimmy.
Yeah, I just think and also the team makeup, it didn't gel with me. Like Teague coming off the bench, like I know he's coming.
That
back
was a
from
mistake.
Injury. You better be better off having. I mean, I guess he's not fit, but if he was completely fit, I'd rather have Teague starting and Nickera coming off the bench. Nickera's far more effective, I think, if you're going to.
As a bench player, certainly.
Yeah, and I actually think you need to bench him. He was pretty ordinary tonight as well, Nickera. Like something has to change in terms of the starting lineup. It just
he was.
Hazleton wasn't great either. Like I don't know, it's just not working.
He was ordinary. The thing is with Ueli, he can be hot and cold, right?
Yeah. And
so what you did see with Rudolph is that Rudolph came on with some intensity and actually gave us some oomph. And there's a probably 5 in 7 chance or 5 in 9 chance or maybe a 5 in 15 chance that ULA comes on and gives us something like Rudolph had. At least it might have been a chance of that, Franko. But again, we didn't lose because of the bench, did we?
We didn't, but on ULA, and I'd also like to talk about the blindside thing with Nico that you mentioned it. But the thing with ULE was, and I've said this in the past, he is better the more time he gets on the field. With each week, with each iteration of game time, he improves. Yep. He gets better and better. And so by doing this with him sitting on the pine and not getting game time, we're not going to get the best out of him. It's not, he's, in my opinion, obviously the coaches see differently and they're the ones paid the big bucks to know their players better than us. But in my opinion, they are not going to get their best out of him if in 4 weeks' time there's an injury or they feel, oh, we need a big bopper to really come on and do something. And he's going to come on with having barely any game time in the first 2 months of football. He's not going to be a rampaging guy that we want. We need him getting better and better each week, building on that fitness, building on that aggression, and then have him just terrorize people. We're not going to get that. For the Nico blindside thing, call me a cynic, but I kind of feel like they saw the Dolphins try where they switched directions and caught us out and scored over in the corner, and it was almost it worked for them, why don't we try a direction change thing? And it was, for me, I wouldn't say he was trying something new, Jimmy. I think he was trying something that he'd seen 5 minutes earlier that worked and was like, oh, we'll have a go at that. But it was just not executed as well.
Jimmy, bright spots, anything?
I thought, I think Stone Street's looking better and better every game. Like and he got bashed today, and he just kept coming back for more. They really got some big hits put on him, but he didn't shy away from it. And the try he scored was a good footwork. He's unlucky not to score from a good leap in the second half. So I thought at least Stone Street's starting to look. I think he's looking better and better, which is great. I know maybe Jesse Colquhoun's stats don't look great, but I see something really great in him. I think I really rate him, and maybe he wasn't amazing today, but you can just. I think he's our best forward, actually. Well, no, Toby was our best forward, actually, to be fair.
Toby was our best forward.
Yeah, and Kennedy, I think Kennedy was really safe at the back. I thought he really put in a shift. They're not our problems. The winger and fullbacks are not our problems. Our problems in the forwards, I think.
Well, the wingers certainly aren't.
Jesse's an effort player. He's that 1% guy that you hear talk about and coaches rave about. He's definitely one of those guys that if there's a loose ball or something, he's diving to try and get on that as quickly as possible. So that's, I think, what we're noticing as, the little things that he's doing right that makes him look impressive on the field, even if, as you said, the stats aren't there to back it up.
Yeah. All right, Jimmy. Well, thanks for coming on, legend. Mate, always appreciate your efforts. We'll get you on the show again. Maybe come on for a win next time.
Yeah. Well, look,
he's got nothing to say on a win.
Grace is, look, it's a long season, right? And I always see the NRL is a bit like the Premier League. You watch the Premier League table after Christmas. And I think with the NRL, let's see where the Sharks are after Origin. So it's round 3. All's not lost. That's my great hope.
Maybe the Dolphins. The Dolphins do seem to beat us a little bit more. Maybe they've just got they're the rock to our scissors, and maybe it's just.
And I really hope maybe a big flu's gone through the team or something. Maybe
I just don't think we've got the
energy.
quality of Herbie and Hammer that they do. They're just better than our guys, and they seem to get these half breaks and chances. And Herbie seems to find Hammer, and they just turn their slight breaks into better outcomes. Whereas our guys don't seem to do that. And if our forwards don't win, then we're in the poop.
Herbie carves us up every time we play him.
I'd love Herbie to be in our team.
Yeah,
oh
he's such
gosh.
A good player. Yeah. I rate him. I love Herbie. I agree. He's a top quality centre.
You just want to get rid of Ramey and Franko. All right, Jimmy, we'll get rid of you. Thanks for coming on, legend.
Right.
We'll
thanks, guys.
see you again during the season.
See you later.
All right, that
Bye.
was Jimmy Munro, absolute legend. Now, in the comments, Franko, can you just check? Am I using the right mic settings? Am I sounding all right? Am I using the...
You're sounding good, buddy, especially when you tapped it earlier. Good.
Oh, so that is working.
Oh, yeah.
All right. Let's go through some of these comments. We've got 2.0 in the green room. I'm sure he's coming in on. All right, Shauno. And I bought glasses, guys. So I don't need them. I can read the things okay. Shauno in the comments says, might have to change the name of our community event, Sharks Have Heart, because they definitely didn't show it tonight. Certainly some of them didn't. I think our good man, Scott Latino, might be saying the ones that are off contract maybe needed to try harder. Benny Turner in the comments said, what the F? And then the team looked flat and not interested. He left with 20 minutes to go. Can't believe that scoreline. Yeah, that was a pretty tough scoreline. Rob Walensky in the comments says he's going to join later after the Tillies game, which hopefully makes that him a little bit more calm. I think 2.0 in the green room's calming down a little bit. Stewie Campbell in the comments says, how was Cobbo's try awarded? The NRL highlights package even cuts it off his legs now to hide it. Oh, we're not going to talk about Cobbo's try, but we are going to talk about the NRL cutting off stuff in the highlights, because we've noticed this a couple of times in different games, Franko, where they've noticed that there were blunders. What was it last week with the Panthers knock on? It was in the highlights and then suddenly it was out of it. Your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I can only say that is secondhand information for me. I haven't cited that personally, but it also makes sense from an NRL perspective, and I wouldn't be surprised if that's something they're doing.
Definitely not. All right, Stewie Campbell then says, no forward run 100 metres. Needs some changes, unfortunately. Benching or droppings that are in order for next week. Not an easy few weeks and can't be 1-5 to start the year. The Sharkies draw coming up, guys. We've got, the Raiders away. The Warriors is a home match. The Roosters, is that the one in Perth? I think it is.
It is, correct.
Then the Cowboys away. Then we've got the West Tigers, who were a bit unlucky tonight, I thought, with Luai coming down injured.
Also, right at the end, Dewey went down as well.
Dewey went down as well, so we'd rather be playing them next week. Jimmy Munro in the comments. We didn't touch on this with Jimmy. Team list Tuesday, copy and paste, round 4 defeat. Get your comments in, guys. What should the starting lineup be? I think there's a bit with that Teague, Burns style stuff. Don't know. Rob Wall in the comments says the kick was caught unchallenged. Which kick is he referring to there?
Well, guess is as good as mine. Talking about challenging of kicks and just captain's challenges in general, I think that is a good example of when to challenge. When Katoa wrapped his arms around Herbie Farnsworth on the attack there.
That was a good time from them to challenge.
Farnsworth caught the bomb. He knew had his arms wrapped around him. I'm not upset that Katoa did that, really. Farnsworth, as we just both...
He might have scored.
And Jimmy, he probably scores from that distance if you let him have a step or two. So I'm okay with it, but it didn't get called. But they were smart enough to then go to video ref. And while we all sort of hate that rule, black and white, if
it's
the
the
ref
rule.
sees that in the bunker, they've got to call it and say, yep, that's a penalty. So those sorts of things, Sharkies, Brayley, look for those when you're doing a captain's challenge, mate. Those things that you know that they can't ignore once it goes up. But yeah, I'm
Yeah,
not
that
sure
one.
what Rob's
There was
talking about
a
there.
moment where the Sharks put a kick in, and I thought one of the Dolphins guys, I think it was Tabua Fido, knocked it out with his knee, and it went through Katoa's legs, and they could have challenged it right at the end.
Right, yeah, where it went out.
Where it went out, they could have challenged that one, I thought.
Mm-hmm.
But what can you say? All right, 2.0's in the green room. 2.0, you 2-minute warning. You're coming in. 2-minute warning for 2.0. Let's keep going through some of these comments. We won't get through all of them. Gigaplex, man, this team loves stinking it up. What are they even doing at training all week? No one takes this side seriously, and rightfully so. I just think on the training thing, Franco, I still think they just don't look like they have the speed and the moves. And the Dolphins did that to a few times, even that play at the end. We just don't have the... I don't know. What is it?
We are a slow team, that's for sure. Whether it's pace or whether it's shifting the ball, yeah, we are a slow team. But like I said last week against Penrith, I don't know if it's something, whether we do it or don't do it, I don't know. But whether it's something like we should, in opposed sessions, play with a shorter defensive line, like do 5 meters out instead of 10 meters, so that whatever you do, you've got to try and react quickly. If you can perform at that speed with that much time, then if someone's rushing off their defensive line, you probably still got enough time to repeat what you do at training. But yeah, I mean, it's not great. We've been asking for a bit of speed for a long time, which is why I think a lot of people are pretty excited about what Stone Street can do. But it's just one guy, and he's technically not cemented a spot yet.
All right. Well, he's got this in the comments. He said, don't bother watching it on TV. It looked abysmal. He then says, Boldo isn't the only one coming in hot. So on 22 minutes... 2.0 joins us. Mate, how did that look on television? What was your reaction? Oh, he's having a swig of his beer for those that are on the audio only. Mate, what was your reaction to that? How did it look on television? I saw your lovely partner down at the match. She commented that my hair looked ridiculous, and it did.
Not as ridiculous as that performance. Jesse Ramian can leave tomorrow. As far as I'm concerned.
You love Jesse Ramian, don't you?
No, I like... one of the first sets we had down there, he's dropped the ball on tackle 2. He's trying to offload it.
The stupid offload.
Ridiculous. Herbie won by TKO tonight within the first 30 minutes. All you have to do is wrap him up. I think he had 4 offloads by halftime. Will Kennedy was going to get an absolute bollocking from myself until that second half. Name a fullback in the top 12 teams that does not back up when a forward makes a break. Billy Burns did something out of nothing in our own half, runs 40 meters, and the only one backing him up was Kale Iro. Where's the fullback?
It was also a run, that run 2.0 was one of the few runs that anyone had with a bit of intent and intensity, and it actually opened them up and actually delivered as a result. I just don't understand. Yeah. Anyway, go on. Keep talking.
If I'm Fitzy, I am on the phone tomorrow asking Trey Fuller, how much do you want? Paps, how's your body looking? And I'm not saying this is Kennedy's fault. This game is not Kennedy's fault. It's through the forwards. But on the chances that we make a break and your fullback is not there. And I know Latsy was trying to G me up in the Discord channel about Stone Street should have been there. He just took a run. What was Kennedy's excuse?
But it's not only that. It's the whole team was slow.
Flat.
They were not just in that one play, just slow to catch up so that we could have another play.
It was like that Manly thing, Franco.
Take advantage of
where
it.
the guy makes the break.
It was not. It was again live. I'd like to rewatch it. I don't know why, but sometimes it helps.
Sucker for punishment.
But it just looked like that we didn't really have the energy to compete. Like, I don't want to. You mentioned Stone Street took the previous tackle, but at the same vein, if we're we're praising Herbie Farnsworth, may as well do it again. Pops off an offload, gets tackled. Someone else picks up the offload. He pushes off the defender, gets up as quickly as he can, and then gets back in to then support the person who caught the offload, right? We don't see any of that from any one of our guys. So, yeah, sure, Stone Street made a tackle, but you see something happening. You are the fastest guy on the team. Get up and get going. You might not get there, but who knows what happens on the next play. Look, again, like you said, that wasn't the problem. There was a lot of other problems there, but it was very frustrating to see no one there with poor Billy Burns looking around for any sort of support, and there was nothing forthcoming. But then the next set was also nothing, and it was similar. I think it was not long after that as well. There was a Dolphins drop ball, and we jumped on the ball. Great, happy days. But no one wanted to do anything once we got possession. It was just, okay, hands on hips, no one moving, no one getting into formation, no one ready to do anything. It was just, oh, good, we got the ball back. We don't have to do anything now. We can have a breather. It was about the halfway line, and I think 2 balls later, AFB drops the ball. Just sort of led to how disinterested they were in my mind. It was,
All right, 2.0. You're going to help us with some of these comments, mate. Shanby911 says, wash my eyes out with acid. Still can't lose the images.
No. I'll tell you something. The only reason that things weren't getting broken in my house is I had my little daughter next to me. Like Sonia took my eldest daughter to the footy tonight, and I apologized to her when she got home. You can't effort. That's all we asked for, and there was none of it.
I think she was putting on a fair bit of effort, if it's who I thought it was, with the cheerleading pom-poms.
Yeah, that's her.
Yep.
She was going for it.
All right, one Disciple Michael says, disregarding the last 15 minutes, they were not hot. We were just McDull. I didn't think they were that good. Not loving it. Rudolph gets the thumbs up. Stoney was pretty good. I thought the Stone Street try was pretty good, 2.0. You would have been pretty happy with that one. I thought he looked all right.
Well, I've had a bad back all week, and that's the quickest I've gotten up all week. So, and the second try would have been even better than that. Like, people complaining he can't go for a bomb. As soon as we put a bomb up towards him for an attack, he gets it. And
to be fair, if he scores that, we're in it, aren't we, Williams?
Yeah, 18-16. Well, it'll be 18-14 instead of 18-10. But, I'm going to be biased and give him my 3 points tonight, because I thought he ran hard. He got smashed a few times. He's still getting up, and he's still – I think he had the highest run meters in the whole team tonight. Like, for a kid that's only played 20 games. But we keep forgetting we expect a Ronaldo-esque performance. How many games has Ronaldo played, and how many games has Katoa played?
Yeah, he did top the meters, but he also had a couple of long breaks. Breaks.
He had one line break for 20 meters.
Yeah,
that was the
trend of 39 meters.
He was, and look, this is not to knock the kid, because this should be almost a badge of honor, I suppose, that he kept getting up and kept trying, but he was getting ragdolled and pushed back on most of his carries, which you really don't see happen with, say, Ronaldo. But that said, he got up, took another hit up, and kept doing it for the whole game. So, yeah, credit to him in that regard.
2.0, team list for Tuesday. What does Fitzy do?
I love Fitzy, but if there is not at least a starting role for Toby, because we've all agreed that Tommy comes off the bench better. He's not a starter. I think, obviously, I'm in the super coach and stuff. He had 45 points tonight because 38 of them were tackles. You get a point of tackle. He made 44 meters the whole game. Toby came on and instantly decided, I'm going to blow this up right now. Whether that is with Toby or not in the selection headache for Tuesday, it shouldn't be a headache. Because if Adam's deciding, I'm going to steal $1 million a season right now and not give us everything he's got, then Toby's the one. If Toby's not re-signed in 2 weeks, I'm going to be blowing up Deluxe, because he's the one that showed tonight, this is how you do it, boys. We run hard, we tackle hard, we make a difference. If you're not willing to do that, Adam, you've got a month until I'm telling you to piss off too, because he has not consistently put in the yards. And I love Adam. I'm a massive Adam fan. But if he's not putting in from minute 1 till minute 30 or whenever he goes off, go. Jesse, go. And here's one that I'm going to start calling for now. Based on tonight's attack in the 20, one of Nico or Trindle can go too. I'm sick of it. Because there was 3 or 4, probably more times that they were looking at each other not knowing what not going to swear, what the hell was going on in attack. They were overcalling each other. The attack looked disjointed. And hell, I don't care which one it is at this point. Nico can go or Trindle can go. One of them's got to be the main guy and the other one's got to be the backseat bitch, so to speak, and just play off the back of it. Because we are looking so bad in attack. I was saying we're going to make a grand final. I'd be happy if we make the top 12 at the moment. Because that attack, that Dolphins team is not good. They've got 2 good players, which I called on Tuesday.
They struggled to beat the Titans 2.0.
Oh, mate, I could throw my kids out there and they'd beat the Titans. Like 2 games in a row now. Penrith, I'll give them a pass for because it's Penrith and look what they did to the Roosters. Coming into tonight, the Dolphins, the worst errors in the comp by a mile. Worst completion rate. Worst defense. One of the worst missed tackles team in the comp. And we made them look like a top 14. So, yeah. Nico's on $1 million. Adam's on $1 million. Tricky got a massive upgrade 2 years ago. Pull your fingers out or piss off. I'd rather start with kids. And Kennedy can go too. But he gets a stay of execution for a week because that second half.
Good to see you keeping Ramian too.
Oh, no. Ramian's already gone. Ramian's already gone, mate. He's on the bus. I'm packing his bags for him tonight.
What about Siffer 2.0?
He can go. He's not that guy. He coming off the bench in the last 3 games, he's done nothing. They sent him on at the end because they were hoping it was going to change something, weren't they?
Yeah,
but,
8 minutes to go. What a waste of time.
He's got that in him to change that game. But so out of the people that come off the bench, why is Toby the only one doing it?
Well, I guess that's the question that's going to be asked.
I thought Talakai was a 1-2 punch when he came on.
He had good touches.
Yeah,
he did have good touches.
Which is more than you can say for most of the rest of the pack.
Yeah, he was the second best of them, I think.
But I think what Toby did was so good that everyone else looked average. And I'm not saying Sifa was bad tonight, but
Talakai 5 runs.
5 runs.
68 meters.
5 runs for nearly 70 meters. So he was
minutes.
Nothing. 37 minutes.
In 5, so he had 5 runs in 37.
Yeah, his efficiency per run, he's just not fit enough. He's not a $700,000 player for us.
You can't call that because we're not looking at the stats of when he was on the field and who had possession. You've got to look at, was he stuck tackling for 3 sets in a row or what? So you've got to look at that a little bit more closely before you say that. Just on raw data, my rule of thumb is 10 runs a hit up, 10 meters a hit up.
10 meters a hit up.
If you're in the engine room, you're doing a hit up, you should be aiming for an average of 10 meters a hit up. And Talakai surpassed that.
Well, if you add the post-contact ones, Franco, he's got 68 and 37 is 100. So he's actually getting 20 meters a hit up.
I think that's included. The post-contact meters are included in the all-run meters.
Oh, right. Okay. So that's, got it. Yeah. So he's still a wrecking ball. All right, 2.0. Yeah. Well, we'll let you go, mate. You give it your 3, 2, 1. I'm going to assume it's Stone Street, Rudolph, and Kennedy?
No, almost. 3 for Stoney, 2 for KL, Iro, and 1 for Rudolph. Because I thought KL, whatever he did tonight, he's just strong. He's strong. He's a strong defender. There's a reason they kept going to Jesse because he's so overrated and average. As soon as he makes a mistake, as soon as he can't.
Yeah, but Farnworth's on Jesse. So therefore they're going
who it is. Go gang tackle him. Like even Nickera, he stepped a couple of times off Jesse and Nickera just arm tackled him. Like if you're not going to put the effort in, fucking get out of my team. Like I'm so over this mediocrity crap. Because we sit here and we say, oh, Jesse, there's no one to replace him. How do you know? Because Michael Gabriel hasn't had a shot. Oh, there's no one to replace Kennedy. Go and get Liam Eisen. Go get Taj Ford for all I care. Give someone a shot. I'm sure when Billy Slater retired, they didn't know Pappenhausen was the fullback of the future. Give the kids a shot. Build another season. I don't care about ruining this season. I don't care as long as we've got stability moving forward, because Jesse's on the market. Talakai's off to Perth, so he can go now. I don't care anymore. When they put out performances out like that, blow the whole team up and start again. And if there's not a blow up from Fitzy in the press conference, he can go with them.
Right, well, you've heard it here first, 2.0. Basically, everyone can go. Fitzy, go. Nico, go.
Yeah, start
Adam
again.
can go. I tell you who else can go. You 2.0, mate. It was good to see you, buddy. Thanks for your contribution as always. Very entertaining and coming in hot. That was Williams 2.0. Absolute legend. Watch that one at home. Jeez, he was coming in hot, wasn't he, Franko?
He was. And I don't want to rebuttal him now that he's not here to defend himself. But I think we've discussed on the past that the Sharks are one of the teams that we can't really afford to
just dump
slip down the ladder and blow up for speculation's sake and hope that the next crop's going to come through. Because if we slip down the ladder,
keep finishing sixth.
We need to be one of the top teams to continue to attract sponsors, to continue to attract players, to try to keep the media on side. So it's a bit difficult for us to just carte blanche make wholesale changes. That said, with CK's not here to jump on it, but I love throwing juniors in. I'd be more than happy to see a couple of rounds of a whole bunch of kids having a crack. But with the forwards, we really don't have a lot of depth there. Like, he talked about swapping out Ramian for Gabriel or Ison for Kennedy. We've got these fringe backs that, whether or not they're good enough, we don't know. They're kind of in that stage of give them a chance to find out. But when it comes to forwards, there's really not a lot of people knocking down the door. Like, we've got Tapua, who's barely been cited and not doing too much, right? So when it comes time to talking about will Fitzgibbon make changes, I mean, it's really
what are the changes going to be?
Yeah, especially in the engine room, especially with the forwards, right? What are the changes going to be? You're probably going to see Teague as a starter and Burns on the bench, unfortunately. I'm not sure I agree with that, but that's what you'll probably see. And then you can only decide who starts and who goes to the bench, because there's not really any new blood.
Doesn't even change the minutes anyway, Franko.
Yeah, right. So I was a bit sad to see Hohepa not there, because I thought his injection last week really added something that adding Teague didn't provide.
Teague did nothing.
I think Teague's a starter. That I don't think he's not an impact player. He's not a spark or an X factor. He's a bit of a grafter that gets in, does the job well. So I don't think I would rather, and I think one of our callers said it, I'd probably rather Nikora come off the bench, even though I love Nikora and I think he should be in the team 80 minutes. But if one of them has to go to the bench, I think he provides more coming off the bench than what Teague does. So it really just comes down to shifting the deck chairs on the Titanic, right?
Nikora provides more off the bench, Franko, because Nikora's a better player. He's just a better everything. So therefore, he should be a better starter. You don't just, let's play him for 30 minutes because he's better as impact for 30 minutes because he's a better player. Yeah,
but no, it's you want to try and mid-max it, right? You want to try and get the best out of who you've got.
You got to play Nikora for 80 minutes, mate. He's a gun. He's like our best guy.
I agree. But if you're talking about, so we're talking about three players now, right? We're talking about Teague, Burns, and Nikora. So if the idea is have Burns and Nikora on the field and then swap Teague on at some stage, whether it's in at lock or in a prop, depending on who comes off. We saw, in first game back in ages. So, let's be fair to Teague. That wasn't a great example of what he can provide the team, but he's just going to come on and be Teague, right? So I don't think he's going to be changing games. I think, something, if you're going to want to have impact, then that's what you're trying to do, right? So we just had someone say, get rid of Nikora or drop him or something. So look, we've got to.
No, they're going to play Nikora and Teague, Franco, is what they're going to do.
They will.
And
They
Burns
will.
is going to be off the bench, and that's what they should do.
That's
obvious.
absolutely what
Because
they will
Burns
do.
can cover the middle, and he can also
Yep.
cover the second row positions. And
Yeah.
Burns is actually quite good impact off the bench.
Burns is creative as well, right? So if they put him on
Burns
it,
is pretty good.
I'd probably like to see him go in at lock. Like I said, I want to see that kind of creative ball passer in at lock for a period. Sort of Hohepa again had a bit of a crack. I think he provides that something a bit different. So maybe Burns can do that as well, because I don't think there's room in our team for both of them unless one of them is starting.
Let's get through some of these comments, Franco, because there's a lot of them. All right, Shamby911 says Kennedy's 2 hit-ups were our highlight. I think it was maybe a few more than 2 hit-ups. 13 runs total for Will Kennedy. Ash Williams in the comments just says, what was that? And you're glad that you were down in Melbourne not watching that live. This is Nathan Hunt, I'm pretty sure. Fighter Race 316. We do try, but it's just not enough. We just seem to struggle with creativity. We definitely struggle with the creativity. They just haven't had the move since John Morris. Sorry, Fitzy. They just haven't. Hopefully our French mate, Freddie Michalak, can help with that. Ashley Williams, team score tonight, -5. Scott Hansen, good to see you in the comments there. Shamby gives some advice to Jimmy, saying, Jimmy, you'll need to sample Amsterdam's finest to overcome that putrid mess. Fair. Dev Era in the comments says, great games, Sharkies. Looked like the whole team would rather be at the pub.
It's interesting that I was worried when the debrief kicked off. I was like, am I going to cop it here for saying that we look disinterested and gassed? And it seems to be a common thread here. So we weren't the only ones to notice that.
Yeah, well, it's tough. I've been on another podcast with the Nottingham Forest one where the Forest fans say that they're not trying. It's very hard to come on the pods and talk about a team that you think's not trying. And it's also tough to say that they're not trying because they are trying, guys. Like, it just hurts. All right, let's keep going through these comments. Shark JD said, did Cobbo still look slow on 2x speed? Yeah, he didn't look that fast on that try at the end, actually, SJD. That's true. 2.0 says, preach Jimmy. Chief Brody, R1R in the comments says, kudos for turning up, gents. Same can't be said for the team. Long season ahead. That's true. Scotty Latino in the comments says, great to see Tricky on the panel tonight. I think he's referring to James Munro and his bald head. That's what Scotty Latino. Mate, lads, we miss you. You and your bloody crazy working hours. Come back sometime soon. SJD says the changes. 1, interchange earlier. That's true. The interchanges, Franco, they did seem to do them later than they might normally do, and that gassed them a little bit. I think it was also just the nature of where the play was on the field and that stuff, and they couldn't get them on and off. That was interchange earlier. SJD says 2, drop Ramian for Hiroti. 3, Hazleton to the bench, Toby to start, perhaps, except back to the impact thing. I think Kafusi starts instead of Hazleton because I think Kafusi with AFB is the right mix, and then Hazleton and Toby with Talakai can be quite an impact. SJD says...
Hiroti, the forgotten man there, I think that's a good call, SJD, putting him in for Ramian just as a wake-up call to Ramian to try harder, I guess. But we know what Hiroti can do. He certainly has a bit of a better package than what Ramian provides at the moment.
Burns to play 80 minutes, says SJD as well. Nikora to the bench. Backing up that comment, Franco. Scotty Latino then says, mate, you just focus on the Zach Lomax Cup tomorrow. Okay, cool. SJD says, me to use the better mic. And SJD then says, where were the challenges? Nico was yelling at the touchy, hello, just challenge. I just don't think they had the chance to challenge Franco. I don't think they could have challenged that knock-on one, and then there wasn't anything else.
Yeah, I'm not. I mean, it's difficult live at the ground to sort of pick up on some of those things about when to challenge. So credit to the captains who are giving a hard time for doing it when they can and getting it wrong as often as they do. But look, it's as I mentioned, we do need to be smarter. We need to work out how and when to do it. But the one that you mentioned, Boldo, where I think it was it Fidau who kneed the ball out over the line, or appeared to need the ball out of the
5 minutes left.
Exactly. 5 minutes left. Throw caution to the wind. You don't win that one. So what? If that was 5 minutes into the game, then I'd be like,
Which I think was a
so
few
what?
more minutes than that. I don't think the Dolphins had yet scored that try when Kennedy.
They hadn't. We were close enough that it could have.
We're still down by 8.
Yeah, I think we were. We needed to score twice, but better than what
So
happened
just
later
speaking
on.
on the down by 8 and the Dolphins taking the 2 points. Now, regular watchers of the show know that Franko and I disagree on taking the 2 points frequently. I would say in this situation, the Dolphins taking the 2 points was the right call. And I always say, it's for the mental and the fact that you get ahead by 2 scores and then the other team gets a little bit down. Having said all of that about getting the whole team down, I thought the Sharks, as soon as they went down by the 8, their just whole psyche just changed, and they just psychologically completely fell apart at that point, and it really hammered them far beyond what I think that it should have. Franko, it wasn't that much of a hammer blow. It was still only 2 scores.
I mean, you could say the same thing for when the Dolphins scored their first try, right? It looked as though that was a wave of inevitability after that try went through. The whole team just slumped off a 4-0 start. It was like, come on, 4-0, it's nothing. Let's go, guys. Yeah, it was
like we were going to need to score twice to win the game anyway, so they shouldn't have been that bad. Let's get going through these comments. WRX 2001 says that was the most disappointing aspect of the game today. We lacked aggression. Ramian was poor. Craig Gearin in the comments says Cam McInnes back soon. Maybe he will improve them.
I don't know how soon he will be back. What is he? Another month and a half away?
Look, on tonight's performance, it can't hurt, Franko.
Oh, no, especially in terms of defense and effort, right? So that is McInnes's bread and butter. He's there to put his body on the line and to never give up. So we could certainly do with a taste of that right now. But that said, I mean, it all comes down to how he comes out and recovers from that injury, right?
Does. WRX, the players looked gassed today. And Shanby says, Hines run meters more sideways than forward. Tell you he's going more sideways than forward. You, Shanby 911. Scotty Latino says, surely we want, or 2.0 will want Hiroti in for Stone Street next week. I don't think that's what he would have said. Devera, the ball was in play for the first 20 minutes without a break. Any teams would have been tired in round 3. Normal stuff. The fitness will lift as the season goes on. Was in play the first 20 minutes. But why were we more gassed than the Dolphins, Devera? Why?
Well, like I said last week against the Panthers, we did put a pretty good effort in against them, even if we didn't like the results. And similarly, that game against Panthers, there was a lot of ball in play. There weren't a lot of stoppages. So that could have had an effect. But still, we trained for those sorts of things.
Sonia Quigley, the Cronulla Sharks looked like a shadow of last year's team, lacking cohesion, energy, and execution. Plenty to unpack in this one. Well, that's what we're doing. Thanks for joining us, everyone, on The Debrief. The Debrief is brought to you by our friends at Solve Accounting. And please give us a like and a subscribe if you're enjoying the channel. We do a Sharks debrief pretty much after full time every week. We did it 2 hours after full time so everyone could watch the Rabbitohs and the Tigers. Also, so Franko could put the kids to bed and also I could get home. And also, we just probably needed a little bit of time. So, yeah, we do the debrief, and then every Tuesday night at 8:30 p.m., we have what we call the Tuesday night live show. So we interact and we look at the team lists and all that fun stuff. And then we also have our Sharks Classic matches that are going into the vault. So next week, I think we've got the Sharks. I've got a classic match against the Raiders that has just gone live that you can go back and watch. So there's a whole bunch of classic library of matches that gets added to every single week. Beyond that, we've got the Discord channel. So you can join us in the Discord channel. There's the link if you want to have chat with other Sharks fans like that. Devera in the comments says, we'll give you Sherry back and give us Ramian, thanks. Is that a fair trade, Stephen?
Depends what you're basing that off, but I don't think I'd want Sherry back.
I would swap Ramian for Sherry.
I think Sherry, we would get more from an on-field performance from Sherry.
I'm not sure I would take Sherry as a player just to sign him, but I would swap Ramian for Sherry.
Big call.
Would you
big
swap
call.
Kennedy for Sherry?
No. That's not plugging a hole we need.
Well, I'm just throwing it out there. Would you swap? Yeah, that's all I can think of now. All right, let's keep going.
We don't want Sherry. Let's just put a button in on
Sherry
that
for
one.
Ramian's about it. Scotty Latino, Nicola has been putrid of late. He's not been great. The whole team lacks speed, thanks WRX. Rob Wall 76. The thing that get me was when we put up a high kick and the chasers were jogging. Just not good enough. I think that comes back down to the lack of intensity and effort and energy, enthusiasm, and fitness, doesn't it, Franco? That's just kick chase is one of the just key things as part of any of these games.
All of those things, or not being on the same page with the playmaker. He puts the bomb up and they're not ready for it. They thought he was going to do it through the hands.
But just start running after that, Franco. Come on.
Agreed. I'm just saying there's plenty of reasons why you wouldn't do it.
I drew up a bloody run sheet for you in the podcast, and then I change all the questions, and then you just don't answer them. No, you just bloody answer the questions based on what happens on the show and where the comments go. It's because you're an effort podcaster, unlike the Sharks who didn't seem to be effort
That's
people.
not the question you wrote down. I'm not answering that one.
Rob Walensky says, aren't we supposed to be a team that does the 1%ers? Well, apparently not. And Rob Walensky has self-selected out of joining. Rob, you'll have to join us next time, buddy. I was going to join, but I'm still too angry. Yep, I can understand that. Scotty Latino asked, do we miss Cam? Maybe. Maybe.
Do
we miss Cam, Franco?
I think, as I said, I think we miss him in terms of his leadership and trying to show the team, move forward, put effort in and whatnot. But I think there's no denying that we kind of went up a gear last year when he went down injured and Colquhoun came in and took his spot. We were a bit quicker. Line speed was a bit faster. We moved the ball a bit more.
Would you start Cam with Colquhoun and AFB?
No, you wouldn't.
So what role does Cam play for us if you think Colquhoun's unseated him?
He's that inspirational leader on the bench, sort of the Finucane thing towards the end of his career. You've lost momentum or whatever, and you put him on, and whether you're getting bashed to pillar or post,
it might have been useful tonight.
He's just going to take a hit up, and he's just going to tackle whatever moves. And anyone standing around watching him do that feels ashamed that they're not putting in, and that's kind of what we need.
All right, more of these comments. Rob says, Toby was one of the couple who made a difference. AFB was shit. That time he dropped the ball and didn't bother to fall, and it does it for me. That was no effort. I better hear that he had the flu. Fair enough. Gigaplex says, honestly, just ship off whoever is off contract at this point. The team needs to freshen up. It's the same nonsense every single year. Maybe Rob Walensky is channeling Home and Away when he says Ramian can rack off. Shanby, if you had to cancel 3 player contracts tonight, who are they? One is Ramian. One is Ueli. And the other one is, I don't want to answer who the other one is, but you can.
Well, you're lucky.
You can draw your own conclusions. Franco, your answer to that?
You're lucky because you don't have to cancel those contracts. They're off contract. They're done. So just don't.
But if you had to just get rid of 3 players now, Franco? And the one I was thinking of is not off contract, Stephen.
Look, I think it's too, and this is me being a bit of an apologist. I think it's too early in the season to start calling out players that we want to get rid of to not come back again. That said, I agreed with the earlier comment from SJD. Ramian swap for Hiroti seems like an absolute no-brainer to me. So if the byproduct of that is I'm cancelling his contract, then yeah, I guess I'm cancelling his contract. I don't really see any others that are contract cancelling worthy, but I certainly would like to see them pull their finger out and put a bit more effort in.
Yeah, fair enough. Well, it's a tough question. Maybe.
I'll have a think
Rob
about it. It's a
Walensky in
good
the
topic.
comments says that is unfair on Steph and not enough minutes to make a difference. That is part of the issue. Yeah, Sifa Talakai for 25 minutes. Certainly enough. WRX says this is all on the coach. I don't think it can be all on the coach, mate. I think Fitzy's pretty good. He's done well with the roster that he's got. Toilet Inspector. G'day, mate. Says, what happened to AFB? He was hot when he was here at the Wars. Now he looks like he's about to ask for a compassionate release to move somewhere else. I don't know, Toilet Inspector. You tell us. You've watched AFB for a lot longer than us. What's up with him?
It's interesting he mentions the compassionate release thing, because when it was announced that we signed him, there were a few people, and I think some of us on the panel also mentioned it, that be careful of the season 1 absolutely skittle everyone, and then season 2 just fall off a cliff, which seemed to be his MO. Obviously, him falling off a cliff is still better than a lot of average forwards, but he's definitely not at his best. And I don't think for 1 minute to say that that's what's going on here, but he hasn't been good the last couple of weeks. I think he's going to come back. He's going to fire up, if only because there's an Origin spot begging.
I think his reputation is going to get him into the Origin team. Jacko here says he was always a bit lazy, Toilet Man. And then those guys chat for a little bit. And then Jacko gives his opinion on the Sharkies. Not an expert, just an opinion. Sharkies are not evolving under Fitz, just doing the same thing year after year. They need a real freshen up somehow. Problem is, the freshen up is risky. And the freshen up involves possibly dipping back a few places and then the 5-year builds and all that sort of stuff. I don't think we can do that. SJD says in the comments, 2.0 even wants our mascot to go. Cronulla Crocodiles does sound better. That would be pretty funny. Ashley Williams in the comments says nobody is stopping Penrith. Shanby, 9-1, but Brayley wasn't at his organisational best. You know what Brayley might be, Franco? Suspended next week after the trip. This is just classic Sharks, Franco. So what happens is that the Sharks sometimes get into these matches, especially in the finals ones, in the high-pressure moments, where they're down by 6 or down by 8, and they just do these stupid petulant moves or petulant plays. We've seen it with, Tricky Trindle last season with a stupid break when he shouldn't have done it. Brayley trying to trip the guy. What are you thinking, mate? Like that 2 points. It was bad, Franco. It's dumb.
I have to, like I said, I have to rewatch that to get a better look, but he seemed shocked that he was called for it. So I think he thinks there's a reason or a way of getting out of that one because it wasn't intentional. Worst case, maybe it's a fine, especially with his clean record. I have to rewatch it to find that. But yeah, we
have a closer look. I was watching it on the small screen, so I don't know. Trips are bad. They don't like the trips.
Yeah, no, they don't. You're right.
They don't like the trips. And he just left he didn't like, it looked like a lazy leg just to stay there. And one of those, they kind of leave it there to see if it'll trip someone. It's not a good look, Blake. I mean, worried that you might be off that state of origin trajectory. So we'll see how that goes. Rob Walensky in the comments says, Wilton is a teacher's pet and a myth. Has one good game in 3. Burns works every game. And then Jimmy Munro backs this up, and he says Nicola is the only one who can come off the bench. Teague or Burns start or not at all? It's not a bad take, that one.
Kind of my theory.
Chicken Party Boy says, unfortunately, players are too slow, stale, no heart, overpaid. We need to change 3/4 of the team. That would be a lot. Rob Walensky says, Hiroti for Ramian. Shanby 911. The only challenge was not leaving the game early. Shanby 911, I know that you went to KFC after the game because that's what you will have done. You're a creature of habit, and I hope the 3-piece feed was delightful. One disciple, Michael, says, Boldo, turn the gain down on the mic about 3 to 6 dB. Matt, I've got this new Streamer X. I don't know how to use it, so I'll work that out. One disciple, Michael. Don't know how to do that.
Thank you, mate.
But yeah, good tip. I will take that on. That is an excellent tip. Do you think I need to have it further away as well, guys? Is that better? Is that better, Franko? If I'm going to move it further away, I need to actually start talking rather than like, should I just move it away and then not say anything? Good tip. One disciple, Michael. Chicken Party Boy says, Fitzy hasn't changed things in 4 years. Yep, that's fair.
Yeah, I certainly feels that way. I'm sure there's various iterative changes.
Bring back Matt Moylan, Franko.
Not quite noticeable, but yeah, I think it's certainly one of those things where we appear to, have not changed our play. The things we do in attack hasn't changed. What did work for us doesn't work anymore through attrition and roster change. So we need to come up with something new, and there does not seem to be anything forthcoming. And that's why, again, we'll say I was pretty excited in that Titans match because it did actually look like there was a couple of set plays with multiple outcomes, different decision metrics for the playmakers, so that they, if the defense shifted left or right or came up, they had a different option they could go with, and it would still result in a break or a try or something. But we haven't seen that in the next 2 weeks. So whether that was just a fluke or, as I said, muscle memory, we haven't quite locked down how to do that on the fly, and we've got to have enough space to slowly work our way through that kind of scenario. I'm not sure, but it would be nice to see something a little bit different, but I'm sure they're trying.
Devera in the comments says, on TV, both teams were gassed after the ball being in play. It's just they got the first try, so they won that first mental battle. I think that might be right, Devera. And then also, if Stone Street goes over for that second try, where he gets held up, that might have also put us back in it. One disciple, Michael, says, like the show, all 25 of us. Well, it's 41 of you now, guys, so come on, give us a like. I don't know. Can't see how many the likes are up to because we're in StreamYard. Maybe someone. Yeah, give us some likes, guys. Come on. Jacko here says, Waz are coming over to Sharkland in 2 weeks for another win.
Probably.
I definitely want to play the Warriors sooner rather than later because as soon as Metcalf comes back and you got him and Tanner Boy, you guys are going to be bloody difficult to deal with.
I mean, they're already difficult, aren't they? Undefeated.
Oh, bloody Warriors look good. I said Warriors would be good at the end of the season. I wasn't expecting them to be good now. They just keep getting better. Good for you, Warriors. We love the Warriors. Shout out to our mates at Waz Up TV, Ash and Levon do an absolute great job on that channel. They're absolute legends, absolute gentlemen. And one of the cool things for being a rugby league podcasting host is we get to meet other rugby league podcasting hosts. And those two are definitely my favorite. Rob Walensky says he'd cancel Wilton. He had to cancel someone. Oh, Shanby 911 says Tommy lacked tape on his head tonight. Maybe that was the problem, Franko.
Could be something as simple as that, especially if you're a superstitious player.
Well, that's true. Chicken Party Boy, ULA 650k and doesn't play. Doesn't help the cap. Ramian has it on New South Cup. We need a fullback like Gray or Buller. Yeah, probably true. Rob Wall in the comments says, Shanby came back to mind for Rob Fried Chicken. You always miss out, Boldo. Probably do. Scotty McLaren in the comments. The only joy today, it's my 15th wedding anniversary. So happy anniversary to my amazing wife. Yes, happy anniversary, Scotty, to you and your wife. And congratulations on that 15th anniversary of her most memorable day in her life and the second most memorable day in yours. Stewie Campbell in the comments says Burns resigned this week. This week. Are we expecting to move on from one of Wilton or Nickera? Only forward that had any energy was Toby and Colquhoun. Well, Burns can play middle and also out wide. I don't think Wilton and Nicker are off contract anytime soon, Franco.
They are not off contract at the moment, no. So it's definitely a shootout between the three of them. That said, contracts and what they're worth, etc. I do think that while I'm happy to see Burns re-signed, I think he's a real asset to the club. I'm surprised he re-signed. I thought he would have
been muscled out.
Just gone to the Bears example for more opportunity, right? Where he is guaranteed a starting role and away he goes. So
maybe he has been guaranteed a starting role as a middle.
It's I don't think he's a middle, even though he could do it. But yeah, I think he's maybe it's just a credit to him as an individual and the culture they've built at the Sharks through Fitzy, where he wants to stay, even though he isn't guaranteed a starting spot. He's appreciating the hard work that the coaching staff has put into him, the improved skills and knowledge of the game. He's getting better and better as the years have gone on since coming to the Sharks, and he sort of wants to repay that. So if it's that kind of background to a contract re-signing, I'm all for it, because that means his head and heart's in the right place and he's going to want to try and do well for the Sharks. It's not just another paycheck for him or seeking exposure by being a starter. So there's no ego involved. So yeah, look, I'm proud that he's re-signed. I think it's a really good signing for us, but it is an interesting call out on where the pieces of the puzzle fit, because they are all 80-minute players.
All right, Franco, other things I'll mention before we do yours and my 3-2-1s for the match. There was an amusing halftime fail from Dane Wheeler, compere extraordinaire, with the singing Bon Jovi at halftime and hoping the fans will do it, and absolutely nobody doing it. Sorry, Wheeler, that one didn't work so well for you.
I do hope that the one they tried to do at the beginning of the game before the players ran out.
Beginning of the game?
So they put up a visual on the screen, and they said, when Sharks comes up on the screen, we want everyone to shout out Sharks. And there was a little bit of music playing, and there was a countdown, and then there was a bit of a pause, and then the Sharks came up, and then went away, a bit more song, a bit more music, and then another Sharks came up, and you're supposed to try and yell Sharks when Sharks came up, which was awkward because no one actually knew when Sharks was going to come up, because this was the first time anyone had ever seen it. But hopefully over time we get a bit of atmosphere from that, because I didn't mind that attempt. Likewise, the Shark alarm button that was smacked by a little kid there at the beginning to sound the players are about to come out on the field, that was pretty cool as well. Any little gimmick like that.
That's not new, the Shark alarm. They've done that before.
Have they? I haven't noticed it before.
Yeah.
So...
Don't you remember Matty and his Ronan? Ronan got to hit the Shark alarm.
They've brought it back, or it's been a while since, because it wasn't their last home game.
It was. You just missed it, mate.
Probably.
You're just too busy being a super dad.
Well, that might be it.
Mate, how has your football watching experience changed now that you take your kids down to Shark Park?
It's definitely different. I think that the live experience is the one that's, if a kid's got to go to the toilet or they want a water or something, you're doing that.
There's not as much sitting next to Boldo time, is there?
There's not much sitting next to Boldo time. But I think it's an interesting one, because at home there's so many other distractions, whereas at the game, the crowd roars and there's all excitement, and little fellas like, what was that? Why are we cheering? What happened there? So it's a good way of getting them engaged and indoctrinating them into the pain that is following the Sharks, whereas having it on the TV, they're just happy playing with toys or reading a book or whatever.
Here it is in the comments. Robball76 says he sees you, Franco, constantly attending your kids. You're a dedicated dad. Shame the same can't be said for you, Robball76, I guess, is the conclusion we're drawing from those comments. Franko, why don't you give us your 3-2-1 before we wrap the show?
Yeah, look, I think mainly just because of the noticeable impact when he came on was Toby gets my 3. I'm not entirely sure that it's warranted. Let me just quickly bring that up. Yeah, look, he only had where is it? 33 minutes, right? So he wasn't on the field for very long, but gee, it seemed to have an impact.
33 minutes.
It was a good 33 minutes. So he gets my 3 points.
8 for 88. So 11 average.
Yeah. So he did good. My 2 points probably goes to I wanted to give it to Billy Burns. He again tried a lot, was trying different things. And then my 1 goes to Colhoun. I'm feeling a bit off by not giving any points to any of the backs because they all made over 100 meters. They all tried hard. They just weren't really given much opportunity to shine. They didn't have much space, and they were shown up by better outside backs on the other team.
Certainly the centers were. For mine, it was 3 for Toby, 2 for Kennedy. He ran hard and at least was trying stuff at the end and looked the only one likely of making a break at the end to try and get us back into it. And Stone Street, there's a quality moment to jag that try, and so that was enough to get you the 1 point. But it's not exactly motivated and inspired 3-2-1s from yours truly tonight, Franko. And in terms of your score of how much did I enjoy the game, it was a 1. The game was awful, but I did have to watch it twice. So that was that. All right, guys. Franko, anything else from you before we wrap time?
No, all good. Let's
never talk about this again.
Let's wash our hands of that and let's see what happens.
Watch the Premier League or something.
Let's try and get back into that Sharkies mindset of forgetting about the week before and suddenly, we're going to be world beaters again. Because if I keep thinking about how poor we were the last 2 weeks, it's going to be 2.0 scenario.
We're going to be back to
exactly. I do regret that I didn't know it was Trindle's 100th anniversary game before putting my tips in to say the Sharks would win, because I do feel as though if I had known that it was Trindle's 100th, I would have said the Dolphins.
That's right. We always lose the milestone games.
We always lose the milestone games. So
Sharks lose another milestone game. All right, guys, that was the debrief for the Cronulla Sharks 10, beaten by the Redcliffe Dolphins 38 points. David Boldo for my amazing co-host Stephen Franklin. This was the ET Stands debrief. We will see you guys on Tuesday night at 8:30 p.m. Same bat time, same bat channel, as the Sharkies take on, who have we got next week? The Raiders on Sunday down in Canberra. Well, they're not looking too good either, the Raiders. So maybe by Wednesday I'll be convinced that we can win. So, all right, Franko. And then Rob Wall has responded saying that his lovely daughter wants to report me to my mother. Good luck with that. She will defend me to the hilt and will never believe that I'm ever a bad boy, won't she, Franko? That was the ET Stand. We'll see you guys next time. Go the
For over 50 years, people have come to see the Sharks play. Talent, skill, speed, intelligence, elite-level athleticism. That's not these guys. Biased, one-eyed, opinionated, more often wrong than right. They make up for their complete lack of talent with pure dribble, gibberish, and enthusiasm. This is the ET Stand Podcast.